Before Muda of Kabali arrived in Free Ratoa, Amaron spent his days on one of Free Ratoa's many outposts. Observing and scouting for enemies or anything else suspicious was the job, but Amaron found joy in viewing the landscapes of Eesla and wondering what it would be like to travel to other parts of the continent. Sadly, for Amaron, the harsh weathers of Eesla made those moments few and far between. Often he would climb to the top of the outpost only to see a white blanket of snow swaying in the violent winds common on Eesla. Amaron remembers the day Muda of Kabali came to Free Ratoa very vividly. A group of savage Fenins on the hunt who chose one of those bad weather days to hide their attack. Amaron was the first to notice Muda and his men, and first to warn the people of Free Ratoa, but the warnings were too late. Muda stormed Free Ratoa, and the ensuing fight was over in minutes. Amaron and the people of Free Ratoa were ironically imprisoned, and the view from the outpost would be all Amaron could think of while encased by Ratoa's walls. One day, one of the other Fenins of Free Ratoa broke free and got out of his cell. He opened some of the other cells, including Amaron's. But while everyone tried to get out of Ratoa, Amaron simply returned to his outpost, longing to see the landscape of Eesla from his perch one more time, assuming it may be the last time. Muda's men caught him in the act, but left him alone on top of the outpost. The snow wasn't as fierce that day, and a rare moment of the sun shining all the way to the ground made Amaron not want to come down. When he did, Muda's men were waiting for him. They held him down and taunted him about his obsession with the outpost, the view, and his stupidity for not trying to escape. One of Muda's men pulled out a large knife, and while Amaron was held down, the man cut out one of his eyes. Threatening Amaron, the man warned him, "Go up there again and lose the other eye." They returned Amaron to his cell and threw him against the wall. As he slumped down, he couldn't help but hear some of the other prisoners praying. They weren't praying to the normal gods and goddesses of Fenrir. No mention of the wolf, the witch, the mermaid, or the elf. Instead, they prayed to a god he never heard of, the god known as Rask. The next day, Free Ratoa was free once more, and the people of Ratoa believed Rask was to thank. Not only was Ratoa free, but the skies were clear, the ground was visible, and the endless chill known by those who live on Eesla wasn't noticeable for the first time in Amaron's life. This newfound warmth was a strange feeling, but none of this mattered to Amaron. He rushed back up to his outpost to look out on the land of Eesla in a new light. Amaron could see the snow melting and the ground clearing up. Rask's warmth was spreading. Amaron closed his only eye and took a deep breath. The cold that would normally fill his nostrils and chest was gone, replaced by fresh air and the feeling of renewal. Suddenly, Amaron felt his veins and nerves where his other eye used to be moving. He was startled at first, but once he realized he was feeling no pain, he instead became fascinated by the sudden movement in his face. In seconds, his eye began to reform and grow anew. Finally, Amaron opened his eyes, and the moment he did, he heard a voice. "I am not responsible for this land, but I will save it. I will liberate this land, and you shall be my eyes." Amaron's vision became blurry for a moment, but afterwards he could see much further than he ever could before. The weather clearing up made it even easier for him to see far past Ratoa and out into the mainlands of Eesla. All he ever knew on Ratoa was being a scout on this very outpost. Doing this for his people was his pride, and now he would be doing it for the god, Rask. But he couldn't do it here from this outpost. While he could see further than before, he still couldn't see everything he needed to be able to see for Rask. Rask didn't command him to leave Ratoa, but the mountains called to him. Eesla had many mountains and peaks, way more suited for scouting. Amaron prepared some belongings, then left Free Ratoa without a word to anyone else. Rask had blessed him with this gift, a gift that allowed him to do what he loved on a scale unknown to any Fenin before him. He was not going to waste this opportunity.